Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Futures Club podcast, where we come to chill and get our minds right. I am Judith Daniel, your host and owner of Juju Star Productions LLC, where we have an array of products designed to help and encourage and uplift and push you forward in life. If you want to know more, go ahead and click that link. But for now, sit back and enjoy the show. You know how I like to just jump right in and get going, right? That's what we're going to do today. I can't be too long because I have such a busy day today. 3 full course meetings, along with everything else that I need to get done. So I do have to make this one a little shorter. But I wanted to unbox the notion of having a simple belief in yourself. You know, even with all the techniques that I teach you, even with all the information and understanding that I give you, even with everything that we go over, even when you have that aha moment, even when you're sitting there putting in the work, you still have to believe in you. You know what I mean? You still have to say, I can do this. And this is why I'm putting in all this work. This is why I'm listening to what she's saying. This is why I'm following the techniques and information that she's giving. This is why, because I believe in myself and I believe I can get it done with the right navigation system. You know, because everything that you want to do, you can do. The only problem we have sometimes is just, how do I get from A to B? Okay, but how do I get from B to C? Because, you know, we still got to get all the way to Z, and I'm still sitting over here at B. So it's like that X factor, once you realize what it's going to take, is to believe in yourself and not doubt. And I know that sounds too simple, y'all, but I don't teach you anything. I don't show you anything. I don't give advice on anything that I haven't done myself to get to where I am today. So I'm not giving you a bunch of, this is how we did it, and now you can do it too. No, I'm really showing you, I'm really telling you about what it took for me to get here. And remind you, the journey can be long, right? If we want to talk about journeys that were supposed to be quick, but it turned out long, we're going to have to go all the way back to Egypt. And how that was supposed to be a 40-day trip turned into 40 years. Go ahead and read it for yourself. You understand the whys after you look into it a little more. Sometimes it does take a little while, but it's until that clicks in your mind, until you believe and you're like, oh, there will be better. Oh, I can do this. You know, and it's I don't know what they're thinking about up there when they're like, it was supposed to take them 5 minutes. We're going on 3 years. I don't know how they feel about that. I know they have grace. I know the Lord has grace. I know, excuse me, my angels, and I can't speak for yours, but I know that my angels are obedient to my Father. And they're all like, they're waiting on my word of belief so that they can move, because the Lord is not going to, you know, force himself on you. He gives you free will for a reason, and he means that. You decide. But again, just like he can't force himself on you to make the right decision, he can't force himself on you to bless you. You decide. And it's not even about, am I worthy of it? Because we are not worthy of his grace. Yet he gives it freely and backs it with his promises and keeps his word. So it's the belief that you will accomplish that thing that you set out to do, no matter how much time it takes. But the one thing that makes for a shorter route is to be open to going through what it takes and not complaining about what it takes and not trying to find shortcuts because you don't want to really do what it takes, but going through it, being open to the lessons, being open to, hey, I know I can do this, but whether I do it or I don't do it, I know I can. I just don't know how to get there. I don't know what to do. With that kind of a mindset, you absolutely can do it no matter how long it takes. There is never a reason. You should never give up on yourself. There's no need for it. Because if you believe you can, you definitely can. And then once you get into that mindset of, okay, this is what is, and I'm not doubting, and I know it. I just know it. I don't even know how I know, but I know it. And then instead of having those doubts, instead of turning your mind away, you start walking forward and towards that thing that you want. Because I tell you, when you take one step, when you go in that first direction, you are going to get instruction on how to move that other foot. But it takes you believing and then you taking the first step saying, okay. And maybe that first step is just saying, okay. And then you start asking the questions, okay, how do I do this? Where do I find this resource? How do I get information on? What do I need for that door to be open to me? And then that's when the Holy Spirit steps in and leads you in truth on how exactly to do that thing. And it might be a little step at a time. It might not even be a lot. It might be like, okay, your eyes are going to have to stay closed, because if they don't, like if I show you too much, you're going to think it's just unreal and you've made it up in your mind. So we're just going to take it step by step, one foot in front of the other, heel toe. And it might be just like that. You know what I mean? You might be like, well, I can't see nothing, but I'm telling you to move in this direction. Obedience is better than sacrifice, right? You don't always have to sacrifice something in order to gain and receive. Sometimes it's as simple as being obedient, listening and hearing, and then saying, okay, well, I know I have to do this part probably, so let me go ahead and do it. Because remember, this is territory and a perspective that you haven't had before. These are instructions that you hadn't taken before. Because if you would have, you would be to where you need to be. You see what I'm saying? So this is going to be new. It's going to be you stepping into the unknown. But when you're not going by yourself, when you can clearly see what at least the next step is, or if you didn't know, and now a moment later after you asked a question, now you have the answer about it. Oh, there's someone who is for me. There's someone who's also rooting for me to get to where I want to get to. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had no instruction on how to move forward. You see what I'm saying? So make sure that you are having that belief in yourself. Even if you don't know all the reasons, or all the how-tos, even if you don't know exactly what the next step after the step that you've been given to do is going to be. But look, something is telling you to go in a certain direction. Something is nudging you to make this particular move. Don't overthink it. Don't make it any harder than it has to be. Because life is still going to be life, and at the end of the day. But when you get those notions on what to do, because God said that He would always make a way of escape. The Lord said He would always make a way of escape. and the Holy Spirit is here to lead you in truth, you ask the question, He'll give an answer. And be ready to receive that answer. And don't say, I can only receive it this one way. Because you don't really know how you can receive that answer, because it's a new answer that you're seeking. He might send it through a message on a TV. He might give the inspiration due to a subtle gut feeling. You know, you might see someone walking down the street and inspiration just hits you on your next move. You don't know how it's going to come, but trust that it will come. Because guess what? If you have a desire for something, it wasn't put there by accident. It really was not. So I just wanted to put that out there just in case maybe you're like, but I do everything. I follow the, what I'm supposed to, what I feel like I should do, because I know that's the right move, even if I don't know how. I just know that's the next step. But it still never connects like I needed to. And don't doubt. Believe in yourself. Have faith that you are going to get that outcome that you seek. And continue to take those steps in that direction. Because there's a million ways to do something. Like so many ways. But it only takes one for your success. So if you're out there on the verge of giving up your turn because A, B, and C is not going right, I would say hesitate a second. Let's reassess the situation. Let's ask a new question. And let's wait for the answer. Because then there's all that extra busy work, quote unquote, that you would have done in and of yourself. You would actually know the next move. And it takes the stress out because it won't be delayed. You won't be late to do that next move because you'll know it when it comes, and then just act on it when it comes. You're not late for anything. Some people are like, well, I gotta rush, I gotta do it, I gotta. No, you wait for the answer. Because obviously, if they're not worried about rushing with that next step, you shouldn't be worried about rushing with that next step. Because as long as you keep asking the question and you keep believing and you keep getting answers or inspirations for that next move, obviously, you're going at a pace that's great. I had that issue with, I want to do it right now. It needs to get done. If it ain't going to get done now, it's never going to get done. That was my fault. Because they're like, hey, we know where you want to get to. We're trying to help you too. These are the steps you take. And sometimes you got to wait a second because the whatever on the other end, it's not coming yet because they have to do their part as well. Or because this thing has to line up and we need this thought to be had by them. And then they have to make this move. And then that's when you have divine meetings, divine interventions, things that are purposely set, when they call it, I guess it's just divine meeting times, I can't think of that other word right now. But it's like, that's when things are set up. And maybe you're just listening to us. You're making those moves. You're moving at the pace you need to. And now it's not you we're waiting on. So let's just, be calm. Know that you and we got this. And you're not going to be late. Because the one thing I am is always right on time. You understand? So as long as you follow and you're obedient to the inspiration of the next step, you'll be right on time. And there's no need to rush. Now, if we say move like this and this and this, move like this, this, and this, and this. You know what I mean? It's just, but you'll be inspired on what to do next, and then that snowball will start rolling. And then, you see what I'm saying? It all works together. And that divine timing, at just the right time, you'll connect with that person or those people or that company. And you're like, wow, this was so right on time. Okay? So don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself grace, but believe that you can do it. And have no doubt, because when you doubt, you kind of restart. Okay, now we got to go back through this lesson. But if you just take a breath, you don't lead by your own understanding, but in all your ways you acknowledge Him, then He'll direct your path. He'll give you those cheat codes. You won't have to do this life by yourself and feel defeated and feel like you can't and feel like it's too much or you're overwhelmed, because you always have somebody there. But if you don't know that, you won't know that you have that blessing, that benefit available to you. All right, so I got to get out of here, y'all. I know this was really quick, but just this is the thought for the day. Any comments, anything you need to say, you can always put them below. And you know how to get in touch with me, and futuresclub101.com for any other questions, or you want more information, you want to see what's going on. And then I will get back to you guys on Wednesday. So this next podcast will be done on Wednesday. All right, guys. Like always, until next time, deuces. As always, thank you for joining us again for another episode. We hope you enjoyed yourself, but the best way to know is if you leave a comment or you send me a message and you actually let me know. If you have any questions, I would love to be able to answer those on the next episode, so go ahead and leave me that as well. But until next time, just know you are worth it to be wherever you want to be.